What is your weirdest experience while going to the gym? Red hoodie guy would come into the gym always wearing the same red hoodie. He would hit the treadmill at 8 to 10 miles per hour and just go. He could keep this pace for 30 minutes, but never seemed to get exhausted. Here's where it gets weird: he must have had headphones on under the hoodie because he would air guitar and headbang the entire time. Imagine a guy running at full tilt while shredding on an air guitar, non-stop, for half an hour, not breathing heavily or grunting, before abruptly stopping and walking out of the gym. Saw a guy on a stair climber wearing sunglasses and a leather jacket. Good to know the fawn still takes care of himself. I try. I accidentally put my number code into another lock that was beside mine, botched the last number and the lock actually opened. 1234? That's the same as my luggage code. I got literally flexed on. I saw a girl who I mistook as somebody I knew, went to say hi. She was cool about it, said it's happened before. Then a guy came over and said something going on here? And literally just flexed. I've never had a bad experience at the gym before, but this dude was above and beyond. Always see them together now. Dude must have some redeeming qualities about him. Maybe that was the first time they met and she immediately fell in love with him due to how hard he flexed his muscle. A guy at a very nice luxury gym was not just dropping his squats, he was actively throwing them up and letting them drop 4+ feet to the safety rack, causing a ridiculously loud sound and a crash. When I asked him to stop, he was extremely aggressive and rude and said he had been a member for 10 years. Management ended up kicking him out about 10 minutes later. "Sir, we've only been open 5 years." I remember a guy would spit and lick his hands before lifting weights or using machines and wouldn't clean it afterwards. Then even weirder, he would straight up moan like he was fucking while lifting the heavier weights. It was weird and gross. Right now I don't know what I find more gross. The dude using bars and machines with salivated hands or him licking his own hands after each machine. I mean, people don't really wipe the handles off after using them, and God knows how often the personnel actually cleans them. Ergs. I hate to run, but run about a mile a day at a 10 minutes/mile pace before I go and do weights. Like, I hate it so much I wish for a heart attack to take me away at about minute 4. Any case, the treadmills at our gyms have big timers on them that are easy to read. I get on the treadmill one day and see that the guy beside me is running a 5K, a preset on the machine, and has been on for about 4 minutes. But he's going fast, like full-out sprint. I punch in my 12 minutes, 10-minute mile plus 2-minute cool down, and start to run. We finish at the same time. Dude ran a 5K in about 16 minutes. Full-on sprint the whole time. I was just kinda in a daze thinking about it for the rest of my workout. I ran a 5K once and saw a guy do this right in front of me. It was an out and back loop trail and I'm just coming up on the halfway mark of the out portion, and here this dude comes like a fucking freight train just steaming down the back portion full speed. My wife and I just looked at each other like, what the fuck? I was on the treadmill waiting for the only squat rack to open up. A guy was holding it up talking to some other guy, and they talked for like 15 minutes. I was about to ask if I could work in, and then they started praying. Other guy put his head down, and squat guy put his hands on other guy's shoulders and started praying and doing that loud huffing between sentences Southern Baptist preachers do. And then another guy walked up to get in on the action. At the loaded squat rack. I just went and worked my legs on the machines. Lord, bless these gains we are about to receive. Back in the early 1980s and late 1970s, I used to work out at Gold's Gym in a western Canadian city. The gym was also the favorite workout spot for professional wrestlers when they were doing a gig in town. The weirdest thing was seeing how dramatically different some of these guys were in real life compared to their wrestling personas. One guy whose persona was of a British dock worker type would show up at the gym in a 3-piece suit, no he didn't work out in a suit, and speaking the poshest of British accents, and was constantly giving other wrestlers investment and tax advice. Apparently he was an accountant as well. What was surprising was that some of them weren't faking it, but in real life they were as rude, selfish and ignorant as their characters. I also remember how sad was seeing how some of the older wrestlers were really suffering from dementia, probably cumulative effects of concussions, and were literally guided through everything by other wrestlers, even simple things like getting dressed. I was impressed by the care some of these guys gave to their older colleagues who needed constant attention. However, the most interesting experience was Jesse Ventura. Of course, when the wrestlers showed up, they were generally followed around by a horde of fans, usually teenage boys. Some were hostile to their fans, telling them to FCK off, others gave a quick acknowledgement and then moved on. However, Jesse would spend an incredible amount of time with his fans, especially the younger ones, listening and talking to all of them with total attention. I remember seeing him trying to do leg presses while taking questions from a crowd of boys about what it means to be a man. Even back then, when he was just the heel Jesse the Body, out of the ring he showed that he understood the impact that he could have as a role model to young men and took it seriously. When he became governor of Minnesota, I was definitely not surprised. There's this guy me and my old lifting partner used to call Asian Guy. He's this guy that's like about 6 feet 1 inch if I had to guess, super lean, widest lats and biggest traps I've ever seen. Anyway, I always used to look forward to watching him lift, and for a while would make sure I was scheduling when I got to the gym for when Asian Guy got there, because for months at least 6 times a week he would exclusively train legs. And by exclusively train legs I mean he would be at the squat rack for no less than 3 hours. I'd always just kinda hang around to see if he would do anything else a little after my own workout, and for that period of time he never did. Until one day I was doing a push workout and was doing lateral raises. I was using 15s or something really light for a warm-up, and between squat sets he came over to the dumbbells and repped out like 3 reps of 50 pounds lateral raises. So I looked at him weird and he saw me and ran over to rep out another 5 reps of 365 pound squats. I was so stoked I saw him doing something other than squatting that I told my friend I saw Asian Guy doing lat raises trying to one-up me, and he responded by saying he did the exact same thing to him with the exact same exercise. Anyway, after a few months he started doing an actual normal rotation of push-pull legs, which was far less entertaining, and somewhere along the way he started using locker number 69, which is the one I usually use, so I've started trying to go before he gets there. I miss Asian Guy. I was leaving the other day for the showers and a girl, maybe 21, never spoken to her before, comes off the treadmill to speak to me, and the following conversation ensued. Her: "Are you going back to your car?" Me: "Yes." Her: "Are you parked at the one you have to pay for?" Me: "You have to pay for all of them." Her: "Is it the one outside? Not multi-stories?" Me: "There's 4 that are outside." Her: "Is it far?" Me: "Explain the location to try and progress the conversation to a conclusion." Her: "Okay then, don't worry." Me: "Bye." No context, no nothing. To this day I can't figure out what her angle was, but it was very weird. Edit: seems she was either flirting, getting stalked, or trying to find the driver she hit. I'll take those odds. I'm going to bestow upon you a simple phrase that will immeasurably improve the quality of your life. Why do you ask? There's a regular at my gym who always gets stares. She's pretty much built like a stick and she's an older woman in her mid-50s. I've seen her a couple of times doing this workout. She literally spends no more than 30 to 45 seconds on each machine and does them with the worst form I've ever seen in my life as fast as she possibly can. For example, on the cable pull down, she'll pull the handle to her neck level, let it raise to about nose level and pull it down again. She'll do this move of about 3 to 4 of motion just as fast as she possibly can for about 30 to 45 seconds, then she'll move as fast as she can to the leg press, which she'll fully extend her legs, and with her legs nearly extended she'll just bounce the weight over and over. At no point does she return anywhere close to the start position until she's done. After another 30 to 45 seconds, then she'll go to the treadmill or the rowing machine or something and do that with the worst possible form. After about 5 minutes, she's done and she'll quit and leave. There was a guy just like this at my gym. Way too much weight, and would only move the bar about 6 inches back and forth in a jerking, violent motion. Just shake my head and move on. Not sure about going to the gym, but while at the gym just a couple of weeks ago, this guy calls across the gym to another guy and says, "I can smell you from here, do you play lacrosse?" To which he replied, "I played when I was younger." First guy says, "That's what I thought, you smell like dry cum." There were probably 12 people in the gym. So random. I was running on the treadmill and there was this scruffy guy all hunched down like 3 treadmills away, and he kept loudly muttering to himself, "You can do it, you got this," and making weird noises. He kept doing it for like 20 minutes. At first I was like annoyed cause he was rather loud and it was weird, but after about 10 minutes I distractedly started thinking to myself, "I can do this. I got this." He was unintentionally inspiring to me. Similar to this, there's a guy at my gym who's older, maybe 50s, but seems to be in decent shape and is loud with his treadmill affirmations. However, his technique. He turns the treadmill up to about 12 miles per hour, supports his entire body weight on the rails, and then just flails his legs on the belt for about a minute or two. Then he steps off so his feet are on either side of the belt, towels himself off, gives off a few loud "phews" and all rights, and then leans right back onto the rails and flails those legs again onto the belt some more. He keeps this up for about an hour, and I think he's convinced that he could do a 3-hour treadmill marathon. I swear my gym is actually a gateway into the Fae. One time I saw a fit man with impeccable, flowing locks stare himself down in the mirror. He just kept saying yes, and growling a bunch. Then he went over to the stretching area and did what could only be described as jazzercise while listening to aggressive hip-hop on his headphones so loud I could hear it from the squat rack. Periodically, he'd holler out grunts and hype sounds and curse words with the music. I'm pretty sure he was a lynx in a human body. One time I'm on the bench and I hear two dudes, "You look fucking amazing bro, you're the best looking dude in this gym." "Nah, you're a bro." I turn around after a set, and they're identical twins. There's this old guy who wears a toupee to the gym. It's hideous, like he decided when he bought his wig I'll be ginger now. But he's like a swarthy Mediterranean white dude. When he works out, the toupee wax that affixes it to his bald skull melts and runs down the sides of his head. He never seems to mind. I go to the gym at lunch and my office is somewhat close to a good-sized university, so some of the college students also gym there since it's cheap and close. One day I was at the gym with a work buddy, we were alternating sets on the butterfly machine which was right in front of a row of treadmills. There were a few folks on the treadmill, an older guy I'd say in his mid-50s and two college-aged women 2 treadmills away from the older guy. They're wearing t-shirts and shorts of the local college. The women are running pretty hard, doing some interval work. After a few sets, the woman closest to the old guy lifts her shirt to wipe her forehead sweat off. She's not wearing anything underneath said shirt. The older guy looks over and notices this and promptly stumbles on the treadmill and shoots backward onto the floor about 5 feet. I am in the middle of my rep when this all happens and I can't stop laughing. My gym buddy turns around at all the noise of the guy falling over. The 2 women immediately run to the bathroom giggling. I still wonder if this was all some kind of prank, or just an accident. Never saw those 2 at the gym again.